Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. And right off the top, I have to ask you to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description. You are really not going to want to miss the updates we have coming your way.
Yeah, absolutely. The support means everything to us. And, well, there is just a monumental shift happening in the sport right now that we really need to talk about.
There really is. I mean, imagine getting the keys to, a Formula One car, but the team owner tells you they've already hired the lead engineer.
Right.
And they've already decided on the engine setup for next season. That is exactly what New Zealand Rugby is doing right now. Today, we are exploring a thrilling update from a recent Planet Rugby article focusing on former fly half and, tactical mastermind Tony Brown.
Yeah, an absolute mastermind.
Our mission today is to explore Brown's highly anticipated return to the All Blacks coaching ticket. We're going to dissect this incredibly fascinating timeline of his move and, figure out what it signals for the future of New Zealand rugby, because this is just a massively positive strategic pivot. Okay, let's unpack this.
It genuinely is a landmark moment. When you look at the mechanics of this move, it becomes clear that this is not your standard coaching appointment.
Right. It's not just a new head coach bringing in his old buddies.
Exactly. It's a foundational, structural shift in how they do things.
So let's start with the basic facts here. The big headline is that Tony Brown is leaving Rassie Erasmus's Springboks setup. But he's not packing his bags today.
No, definitely not.
Right. He's committed to staying with South Africa through the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. And only after that tournament concludes does he head back to New Zealand as an assistant coach. It's a 2-year deal starting in 2028.
Which, if you think international rugby at all, is just a remarkable timeline.
Oh, totally unheard of.
Right. Usually the landscape turns into this frantic scramble the moment a World Cup cycle ends.
Yeah.
Contracts expire, coaches get fired. But here, they've locked in an assistant years in advance.
And not just any assistant. We have to look at his pedigree. He did brilliant work with Otago, the Highlanders, the Sunwolves.
Yeah, and then those huge international stints.
Exactly. Japan and South Africa. He is basically like a highly sought-after tech visionary, or, that legendary lead guitarist that every single band wants, but he's finally decided to return to his hometown startup.
That's a great analogy. What's fascinating here is the historical context of it all. I mean, it's an open secret that NZ Rugby and former All Blacks coaches have tried to lure Brown back for years.
Yeah, repeatedly.
Right. They knocked on his door over and over, and he kept rebuffing them. So getting him now is just a massive, massive win for the union. Having an attack coach of his caliber, it completely changes the game for an international setup.
It really does. But before we get into the real wild card of this whole scenario, I want to take a quick second. Don't forget to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description. And seriously, we want you to get involved. Drop down into the comments and tell us your thoughts on Tony Brown's return. Are you as hyped as we are?
Yeah, please do. We love hearing your opinions on these big strategic shifts.
All right, so here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at this timeline quirk. Current All Blacks boss Dave Rennie was actually instrumental in nabbing Brown away from the Springboks.
He was, yeah.
But Rennie is only signed through the 2027 World Cup. So Rennie might not even be the head coach when Brown actually arrives in the building in 2028.
It is a totally wild dynamic. Rennie secures the ultimate weapon, but, he might not even be in the chair to use it.
Which makes me want to push back a little on this strategy. Isn't it slightly risky for a union to pre-hire an assistant without knowing who the lead singer is going to be? I mean, what if they don't gel at all?
It's a completely valid question. But to understand why they did this, we have to look at NZ Rugby CEO Steve Lancaster's perspective on the whole thing.
Right. He had some really interesting comments.
He did. He stated clearly that they didn't succumb to public pressure. His exact words were something like, "Our job is to be immune to that pressure."
Wow, that is a bold statement to make publicly.
Yeah, shows a lot of backbone. And it wasn't about FOMO either.
Like the fear of missing out?
Exactly. They didn't just panic buy him. This is a proactive, strategic move. Lancaster basically said, "We're really confident that any All Blacks head coach in 2028 will want Tony in their group." So the stars have aligned nicely.
Huh. So they're just that confident in his pure value.
Absolutely. It shows a union that is confidently building a world-class environment. Any future head coach would just be incredibly lucky to inherit that kind of setup.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Because if Rennie doesn't stay beyond 2027, could Tony Brown actually be eyeing the top job himself?
Well, it's the natural conclusion your brain jumps to, right? But Lancaster actually gave a really definitive quote to settle this right away.
Oh, really? How did they diffuse it?
Yeah, he said Brown has been really clear that he specifically wants the assistant coach role.
Just the assistant role. That's interesting.
Yeah, he knows his lane. And Lancaster followed it up with a great piece of nuance. He said, look, if things change, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, we're really clear on where he fits in, and so is he.
That is crystal clear communication right there.
It is. And it creates such a stable, positive environment. Both the coaching staff and the players know exactly what to expect moving forward. No locker room politics, just rugby.
It really takes all the media drama out of the equation.
It does. And, it leaves us with this really provocative thought to mull over. Will this specific strategy, securing elite, specialized assistant coaches before locking in the head coach, will that become the new blueprint for international rugby?
Oh, that's a wild thought.
Right. Like, are we entering an era where unions just pre-assemble these dream teams of assistants and the head coaches simply plug into them?
Basically acting like a general manager. That would change the entire ecosystem of the sport. Well, that is definitely something for you to think about. And before we go, one last reminder. Make sure you subscribe to the Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description. We've got so much more coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.